Find yourself in Sukhasana or easy cross-legged pose. Think about sitting up nice and tall with your chin parallel to the mat, almost like someone's pulling a string from the crown of your head. And pull the belly button in towards the spine. And so feel the engagement of the core, the front and the back of the body, sitting up nice and tall. And inhale, bring both of your arms up over your head, reach for the sky. And exhale, bring your right hand to the mat beside you, lean over, reach to the side. And breathe. Start to notice the body stretching on the left side. Reach your knees for the mat, turn your head and your chest to look up. And you have the option to stay right here, or if it feels good in your body, bend a little deeper and reach a little further. Breathe. Inhale, come back through center, reach up as high as you can. And exhale to the other side. Breathe. Reach your knees for the mat, turn your head and your chest to look up. Option to stay here or bend a little deeper. Reach a little further. Inhale, come back up through center. Once again, reach up as high as you can. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Bring the soles of your feet together in front of you and pull your heels in towards your groins. Take a hold of your big toes or your feet. And inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, fold at your hips and bring your chest closer to the ground, closer to your feet. And once you get down there as far as you can with a long spine, just let your head hang and your shoulders round. Always an option, if it feels good, to walk the hands out in front of you. Most importantly, breathe. Feel free to keep the practice of I love you with you throughout your Hatha practice this morning. I love you. I love you. I love you. Just sending out positive words, love to all of the structures of your body, your bones, your tendons, your ligaments. One more breath. And plant your palms on the mat in front of you and slowly come back up to seated. Walk the hands all the way back behind you, fingers pointing towards your body. Lift your chest. Try to bring the shoulder blades to touch on your back. And keep the head looking forward. Breathe. Feel your chest opening. Your knees reaching for the mat. And then come back to center. Bring the hands all the way in front of you, your ankles out to the side and back behind you. Come up onto all fours. Plant your palms below your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide and put the weight into the hands where the fingers meet the palms. Bring the hips or the knees below your hips and untuck the toes. Put the weight into the tops of the feet. Feel the lower back and the belly engage. Keep this. Inhale, bring the belly towards the mat. Look up at the ceiling. Exhale, push the ground away from you. Arch your back, point the top of your head at your mat. And just continue to flow at your own pace with your own breath. Inhaling through cow. And exhaling through cat. Really warming up, lubricating the spine. One more round. On your next breath, bring your spine to neutral. Walk your hands forward towards the tops of your mat. Tuck your toes under, and then lift your hips up for downward facing dog. Alternate the bend in your knees or walk out your dog. Warming up the backs of your legs. Remember to breathe. Keep putting the weight into the knuckles. Bend your knees, look to the top of the mat, and then walk your feet to meet your hands. Coming all the way forward into Uttanasana or forward fold. Allow your head to hang, your shoulders to round. Option to keep the hands on the mat or take a hold of opposite elbows. Breathe into the backs of the legs. And forward fold. I like to think about gravity, pulling any thoughts that I no longer need just right out of the crown of my head. I love you. I love you. I love you. Release the hands. And then slowly start to roll up. Allow the arms and the head to hang. And when you get to your shoulders, roll your shoulders down your spine. Your head comes up last. Just take a moment here to set yourself up in Tadasana, or mountain pose. Double check that your feet are hip width distance apart. And then lift up all 10 of your toes. Spread them wide. Option to keep them lifted. As they're lifted, feel the engagement in your lower legs. Engage your thighs and just play with that micro bend. You can have engaged thighs and not locked knees. Squeeze your bum. Pull the belly button in towards the spine, lift your chest, and also bring the ribs towards one another. Spread your fingers wide. Engage your arms and breathe. Close your eyes for just a moment, really feeling the strength of your mountain pose. Keep this engagement throughout your body. And inhale, bring your arms up over your head, reach for the sky. Exhale, fold at your hips, bring your hands to the mat in front of you. Inhale, halfway lift, put your palms on your shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, plant the palms and step your feet back to the top of a push-up. Stay here, breathe. Spread your fingers wide and push the ground away from you. Double check that your wrists are below your shoulders. Pull your belly button in towards your spine and bring your heels up over the balls of your feet. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale, slowly lower your body down to the mat in one line. Once you get there, untuck your toes, roll your shoulders down your spine. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, back down. Start to flow with your breath. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Keep the elbows in at the sides of your body. The elbows reaching to the bottom of the mat. Keep the toes untucked. The legs engaged. Option to lift the hands up with every inhale. On your next inhale, come up, stay up, breathe. Just double checking all of the alignment cues, elbows in and down, Legs engaged, knees lifted. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. One more round. Inhale. Exhale down. Inhale, tuck your toes. Exhale, push up through all fours. And then all the way up, downward facing dog. Double check your alignment. Foot into place. Set yourself up. Keep your hands and your feet right where they are. Push up, downward facing dog. Put a slight bend in your knees. Push your chest closer to your thighs. Keep pushing weight into the knuckles. Bring the shoulder blades down the spine. Engage the core. Reach the sits bones up towards the ceiling. Breathe. Inhale, bend the knees, look to the top of the mat. Hop, step, or walk your feet up to your hands. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale your arms out and up. Exhale your hands to heart center. Close your eyes. Take a breath or two. Lift up all 10 of your toes and just sway from side to side and front to back. Really feeling the ground below you. Feeling the stability, the strength, the support. I love you. I love you. I love you. My favorite reminder here that regardless of what's going on at home, regardless of your support system, you always have this stable ground below you to help propel you forward on your path. Always. Inhale, bring your arms up over your head, reach for the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower halfway or all the way. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Breathe. Inhale, bring your right leg up into the air behind you. Exhale, step it through between your hands. Bring your back heel to the mat, the foot at a 45-degree angle. And then step that back foot out to touch the left edge of the mat. Nice. Bend your front knee until it's over your ankle. and put the weight into the outer edge of the back foot. So really strengthen your legs. Use the strength of your legs to bring your upper body up. Keep the front knee over the ankle, and then push into the back foot, bringing the back hip forward and the front hip back. So locate your hip bones, and then just make like headlights or laser warriors. So like all eyes on me. And breathe. Bend into the front knee even more. Even more. You want the front knee over the ankle and the shin vertical. Option to keep the hands on your hips, or you can bring your arms parallel to one another and reach them up. Notice when you reach up, the body wants to like open up. Bring the ribs towards one another. Engage the core. Breathe. Keep bending into that front knee. Inhale, straighten the front leg, and exhale, bring your hands back behind your back. So you can take a hold of opposite elbows, or you can come into reverse prayer, whatever works for you. Make sure to keep a micro bend in the front knee. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Start to fold at the hips and bring your chest forward. So a block can always be very helpful here to keep the spine long. Keep engaging in both legs. And just double check that you're not locking into the knee. Keep the spine long. Breathe. Keep the core engaged. Both your legs engaged. And keep breathing. If you can, lift the toes up on the front foot. Lift the toes up on the back foot. If you have the hands back behind you, release them and bring the left hand to the inside of the right foot. So you can use the block or not use the block. I'll just let you know that when you're not using the block, most people are kind of out of alignment. So the way that you can double check that is bring the right hand onto the hips and notice if one of the hips is coming up. We want to keep the sacrum even. Stay here. Keep all of these cues in mind. So knee micro bent, legs engaged, core engaged. Option to keep the hand here, keeping you even, or you can start to open up. Breathe. Option to stay here, or one more thing, take that block, place it at the top of your mat. Bring all of the weight into the right foot and bring the left leg up into the air behind you. Just play with this. Your back leg is strong. Hips are even. Breathe. Reverse order out. And bring that back foot back to the mat, outer edge of the mat. legs long. Walk the hand back to the inside of the foot. Bring the right hand down. So back to pyramid pose. Engage the legs. Lift up. Bend back into the front knee, warrior one. Your bum might be burning. That's good. Breathe. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Plant your palms on either side of your front foot. Take that back foot back. And then step back quietly, downward facing dog. Nice work. Option to stay here, option to child's pose, or option to vinyasa. Breathe. Just making your way back to downward facing dog. Other side. Inhale, bring the left leg up into the air behind you. Exhale, step it through between your hands. Bring the back heel to the mat, the foot at a 45-degree angle, and then step it out to the outer edge of the mat. Bend the front knee until it's over the ankle. Put the weight into the outer edge of the back foot, like really engage the legs. Use the strength of the legs to bring the upper body up. Push into the back heel, bringing the back hip forward, front hip back. Option to keep your hands on your hips, or you can bring your arms up over your head. Breathe. Again, notice, does your body like want to open? If it does, just pull it back in. And keep bending into your front knee. Even more. Shin is vertical. Breathe. Inhale, straighten out the front leg. Exhale, bring the hands behind your back. So again, same options, opposite elbows, reverse prayer. Double check that front knee. Make sure you have just a little bit of play. And then inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Nice, strong core, nice, strong legs. Option to stay here or use that block. And so usually it's quite helpful, like especially on the first few times, just to really get the proper alignment. And keep the legs strong. Try to lift the toes on the front foot, lift the toes on the back foot. Lengthen the spine, engage the core. Breathe. So option here to keep the right hand on the block and bring the left hand onto the sacrum. Keep your legs strong. Keep the sacrum like neutral. And then, only then, if you can keep this, start to look up. Breathe. Falling means you're trying. Option to stay here or bring the block off the top of the mat. Bring all of the weight into the left leg and bring the right leg up into the air behind you. Focus on the leg that's in the air. Flex the leg. Dorsiflex. Breathe. Stand strong, stronging leg. Strong standing leg. Leg in the air, strong. Only when you have your foundation strong, then start working on twisting the chest and reaching the arms in opposite directions. Lots of times to practice, just get used to it. One more breath here. And then we reverse it. So bring that back foot back down, nice long legs. Move the block on the inside of the foot. Reverse triangle. Coming back through pyramid. Bend the front knee, lift the upper body, warrior one. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Plant your palms. Step back quietly, downward facing dog. Option to down dog. Option to vinyasa. Option to child's pose. Breathe. I love you. I love you. I love you. Bend your knees, bringing them all the way down to the mat. Take your knees out as wide as your mat. Bring your big toes together. Push your hips over your heels. Walk your hands out in front of you. Extended child's pose. Stay here, breathe. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. I love you. I love you. I love you. Something that I do, I'm sure nobody else ever has done this, is in the resting portion of class, I notice like, oh, yeah, we can rest. And so then what I start to do is pick apart my practice based on if I like held back or varied my pose, or even if I like straightened my leg in warrior one when we were holding it for so long. And then I'm like, you could have done better. Since we're resting now, it would have only been an extra second or an extra breath. And I just want you to notice if you go there. Because one thing that I have realized is that I'm on my mat. And isn't that just better than not being on the mat? And that even if I straightened or took a break, isn't it just better than I'm on my mat? Just arriving some days is the hard work. So take a moment. I love you, I love you, I love you. To be proud of yourself for being right where you are. Bend your elbows, plant your palms below your shoulders, all the way up onto all fours. Cross your ankles behind you. Sit down on your mat. Bring your legs out in front of you. Bend the knees and plant the soles of the feet on your mat. And then take a hold of underneath your knees. And just do some seated cat-cows here. So on your inhale, bring the chest towards the knees, lift the chest. And then on the exhale, round the spine. Really push the shoulder blades to the back of the room. Just keep doing that with your breath. Inhale, seated cow. And exhale, seated cat. Next time you come through seated cow, stay here and continue to breathe. So this lifting of the chest, this is what we want through any kind of like core series. All right, anytime that we're working on abs, chest lifted, belly button pulling in towards the spine. So take your hands and bring them beneath your knees and keep your knees together. Sometimes this is just the work because the knee is like, want to come apart naturally. Bring the elbows out to the side. Keep lifting your chest. You have the option to stay right here, just like this. Or you can start to find that magical balancing point. Bring the feet up to eye level. Keep the knees together. And now start to pay attention to the feet. So there's pointing, there's flexing, and then there's flointing. Okay, so you point and then flex the toes back towards you. It's like you're pushing on a gas pedal, and or they're called Barbie feet. Okay, when you're flointing, you're getting the benefit of both plantar and dorsiflexion, both flexing and pointing. Keep the knees together. Keep lifting the chest. Most people in the core series are just like wanting to head straight on out and they're not necessarily actually engaging appropriately. So really pull those knees together. And only when you can keep the knees together, you can release your hands and reach the hands for the feet, but keep the knees together. Keep breathing. And then slowly bring the feet down to the mat and hug the knees into your chest. Take a minute. Breathe. So you may notice, like, with trying to keep the knees together, it's like it's not even core, it's like hips, right? So that's one part. Next part, bring the feet so that they are not quite hip distance apart, but a little bit spread. Take a hold of underneath the knees. Lift the chest. Stay here or bring the feet up into the air. Floint. Keep lifting the chest. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. And now start to reach the hands for the feet. Notice that the knees, even when they're like not together, they want to come apart. So keep pulling them in towards one another. And then you have the option, if you're ready for it, to straighten the legs out, but keep the toes at eye level. Keep lifting the chest. Breathe. One more breath. Bend the knees. Bring the soles of the feet to the ground. Hug the knees into the chest. And then we're just gonna take our time coming down to the ground. So it's like a slow race. The person that gets down the slowest wins. Nothing. So make sure that you keep the feet on the mat and reach the arms out in front of you. And then slowly start to sit back. Keep the core engaged and the chest lifted. And remember, it's usually like really slow at the beginning and then quite quick at the end. Try to reverse that. Get into the hard stuff first and now take your time. Keep the feet on the mat. Keep the chest lifted. Keep the arms reaching. And then whenever you get down to the ground, Kama's the winner. Just hug your knees into your chest. Bring the soles of your feet up to face the ceiling and then take a hold of the outer edges of your feet. Pull your knees back down towards the mat. Happy baby pose. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then slowly release your feet back down to your mat. We're going to go into bridge, and if you have a block and if you want to use your block, just make sure that it's accessible from your back. Walk the heels towards your bum, not all the way. And then bring your arms alongside your body with your palms face down. Put the weight into your feet and lift your hips up into the air. Option to interlock the fingers back behind you. Really pushing the arms into the mat and lifting your bum up into the air. Notice that the knees, they want to fall open. Don't let them. Keep pulling them towards one another. Squeeze your bum, lifting your hips up into the air. So here you have the option to stay right here, just like that, or you can take a hold of your block. And there are 3 levels to your block. Find the most appropriate for you, place it below your sacrum. Just double check that you're not putting the block in the lower back, but more like at the top of your butt crack. And breathe. If you have a block below you, you can start to walk the legs out long if that works. If you do that and it's like really intense on the lower back, just bend the knees. Take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And if you straighten the legs, bend the knees, bringing the heels back towards your bum. Put the weight into your feet, lift your hips up into the air. Squeeze the bum, pull the knees towards one another, and then slowly start to lower, round the spine. Bringing it down vertebra by vertebra. Tailbone touches last. Bring your arms out to shoulder height, palms face down. Inhale your knees up into your chest. Exhale, let them fall to the right. Just feel free to take whichever supine twist is calling to you. Make sure to breathe and feel your body twisting all the way down the spine, from the base of your skull to the top of your pelvis. Inhale, bring your head into center. Engage the core, bring your knees into center. Exhale to the other side. Breathe. Feel the twist on the other side. Inhale your head into center. Engage the core. Pull your knees back into center. Exhale, hug the knees in. Bring the forehead up to try to touch the kneecaps. Squeeze your body round your spine. And bring your head down to the mat. Bring your feet down to the mat. And start to walk your feet away from you until your legs are flat. Push the back of your head into your mat. Roll your shoulders down your spine. Allow your hands to fall away from your body, your palms to face the ceiling. Take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in through your nose. Let it out with a sigh. Just let go of your breath. Allow your body to breathe itself. Take all of the thoughts that you have in your head right now and just allow them to ooze out of the crown of your head, onto your mat, and away from you. Start to relax the body, beginning with the top of your head. Relax your forehead and feel your eyes grow wide. Feel your eyes sink into the back of your head. Relax your cheeks. Relax your jaw. Let the tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Relax your throat and your neck. And let any tension ooze out of the tops of your shoulders onto your mat and away from you. Relax the muscles that run along your spine. Relax your arms, and your wrists, and your hands. Relax your chest, and your abdomen, and let your hips be wide. Relax your thighs and your knees, and your shins and your calves, and your ankles and your feet. Bring some awareness back into your breath. And start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And turn your head from side to side. Pull your knees up into your chest. Hug them in. Roll from side to side. Eventually rolling all the way over onto your right side. Use your bicep as a pillow. Take a breath here and just take a moment to think about a word that you would like to use to carry you through the day, a word to come back to. And then slowly use the strength of your left hand to push yourself all the way up to seated. Try to keep your eyes nice and heavy, When you get here, roll your shoulders down your spine. Rest your hands on your knees or your thighs and take a nice, long, slow, deep breath in through your nose. Let it out with a sigh. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your hands together in the center of your chest. Normal breathing. Bow your head. And thank you all so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice this morning. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.